Hey there, welcome back to this Friday edition of FreightWaves Now. I'm Andrew Cox alongside Kaylee Nix. We've got Joel Gard with us. He's the president of XPress Technologies, a subsidiary of US Xpress. We're going to talk about the digitization of US Xpress's brokerage and what is going on over there on their technology side. Joel, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for being here. Looking forward to telling a little bit more about the XPress Technologies story and US Xpress's transformation as a whole.
It's awesome to have you down here, of course, coming through the ridge, just on the other side of Chattanooga. Tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing over at XPress Technologies and then what your role is there as well.
Yeah, sure. So most folks know US Xpress is one of the nation's largest asset-based truckload providers. As we've embarked on a pretty kind of specific growth-oriented transformation over the last couple of years, we've made a very intentional decision to invest heavily in our pre-existing brokerage capabilities and really kind of taking an approach to sort of reimagining that operating model in pursuit of bringing more capacity to a central platform for our shippers over time. So I was brought in at the end of 2019 to really kind of work on that strategy, and over the course of the last year and a half, we've been taking a pretty careful approach to ensuring that we're, kind of up-leveling our pre-existing service while really reimagining the operating model as a whole.
Joel, digitization can be kind of an opaque word in this industry. We use it very broadly. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, really good question. I think for us, it really means a couple of things. One of the blessings or curses of where we're at as an industry right now is that everybody's kind of throwing around these buzzwords and trying to find ways of using technology, sometimes for technology's sake and not necessarily with a purpose in mind. For us, digitization really kind of means the following: streamlining our operating model and the tools and products that we put in the hands of our shippers and carriers so that we can enhance the experience that we provide to them and really empower our people to do what people do well, which is solve problems and create relationships with our external parties. So for us, it's sort of a purpose-built approach, right? We want to make sure that we're deploying technology and digitizing.
Difficult word.
It is a difficult word, isn't it? Parts of the process that really kind of sets our people up for success in terms of creating a best-in-class experience for our shippers and carriers.
And so you mentioned that you guys are more asset-based. So talk to us a little bit about the origins and what kind of brought this idea of XPress Technologies forward and the decision to kind of go into this digitization space.
Yeah, I think sort of the sequential order of our story over the last couple of years has really been rooted first in disrupting our kind of traditional core competency in asset-based trucking. We've been really kind of proud of the progress that we've been able to share on Variant, a sister company to mine, and the digital fleet that's really kind of disrupting our pre-existing OTR business. Once that kind of concept or strategy was firmly seated, we really kind of turned our attention to the asset light side of the business, and have done so really by taking a bit of our asset-based DNA or point of view in mind, right? So a lot of the tools and products we're working on right now as XPress Technologies is really kind of focused on creating a better experience for the carriers we're partnering with and putting tools in their hands that really kind of creates more of a business enablement platform rather than just a traditional kind of transactional brokerage experience with us as a provider. So capacity is king, right? That's what we're all in the business of trying to provide for our shippers. And so we're trying to be really, really creative about how we think about bringing both our own asset-based capacity as a traditional truckload provider and now with XPress Technologies an expanded and far more scalable brokerage model for our shippers to consume in a very seamless way.
Joel, you mentioned Variant. I thought it was very, very smart that you guys set up shop right across the street from Georgia Tech. That's a great pipeline to jump into. Is there any cross-pollinating between those teams and your teams here in Chattanooga?
A little bit. So XPress Technologies has actually taken a bit of a similar approach. I do have some staff here in Chattanooga at our corporate headquarters. Most of our technical operation is actually in the greater Phoenix area. We also have some product and technical folks in Boulder, and then some staff in Chicago. So we're kind of building up a couple of really kind of strategic hubs across the country. One thing to kind of note is that we have dedicated technical teams from both Variant and XPress Technologies that are really kind of focused on developing the purpose-built technologies for those business models, but we're being intentional about ensuring that we really kind of share a back end that allows us to sort of converge some of the capabilities to create a seamless experience for our shippers. So there's some cross-pollination on the back end. We're kind of hard at work incubating both of those business models right now, and doing so with a long-term vision in mind that commercially the capabilities converge over time for our shippers to consume in a far more seamless way.
So obviously the last year has kind of accelerated our industry in every aspect at a pace that was insane, right? Nobody could have predicted that everybody would adapt technology, digital freight brokerage, all of this so quickly. Talk to us a little bit about that time scale and how it was so quickly having to adapt to this. And is that something that will continue into the future, or are we kind of at this cap of, okay, we're here now, let's utilize what we got?
Yeah, it's the constant question, right? I think something that we've all been asking ourselves for the last few years. I think we're very much at an interesting stage of life in our industry. You continue to see a lot of outside interest in the form of investment and new entrants kind of crowding the space, which to me is really kind of a positive leading indicator for how much work is left to do to really kind of refine the way that we work as an industry and take care of one another as a result. I think what's going to be an interesting kind of thread to sort of follow as we think about the impact of that investment is how the industry starts to kind of consolidate or converge with respect to interaction between players that were maybe once competitors and are now partnering to provide joint solutions. As an example, you're starting to see some of the more kind of leading edge folks in our space, including ourselves, think a little bit differently about how we interact across the wider ecosystem or value chain as a result of the technology that now enables those sort of interactions to occur in a way that perhaps it wasn't possible in the past.
Joel, you spoke broadly about what XPress Technologies is there to do: make your carrier lives easier, make shipper lives easier through technology. Let's not get too technical into the weeds, but let's talk about some of those things. Some of the things that your team has built that makes your customer lives easier. What are some of the things you're most proud of building at XPress Technologies? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think a key distinction is just the investments we're making is really in pursuit of our mission to make goods move better every day. And in keeping with that spirit, a lot of what we've really kind of focused on as we've been incubating both Variant and XPress Technologies and really kind of up-leveling our pre-existing dedicated business as well is finding more seamless, liquid ways of interacting with our shippers and ensuring that they can tap all three of our capabilities in a very kind of seamless, unified experience as we're doing business with them and building that partnership. So a lot of work has gone in on the front end to make sure that we're modernizing our integration points with respect to dynamic pricing and API connectivity as an example. On the supply side, we've been hard at work really kind of harmonizing a platform or portfolio of products that really kind of exists to enable our carriers to do more of their total business in one native place rather than having to use one system for kind of fleet management functionality, another system for freight acquisition, another for track and trace. We're starting to bring that all together into the XPress Technologies platform, and feedback from our carriers so far has been really positive.
That's one of the biggest questions that I always ask when it comes to talking about digitization is how do you get your clients to exist in this one seamless ecosystem without having to give them app fatigue, without having to go from point A to point B to point C to point D to do all of their business. It seems like at XPress Technologies, you guys have kind of figured this out. What do you think going forward is going to be the main driving point of hitting this home and getting this to people and saying, hey, look, we have this one-stop solution for you. Come here and come experience it.
Yeah, I think actually it has nothing to do with the technology, right? Our industry, like many others, is still very much a team sport, and whether we like it or not, relationships and the experience that you provide to your external partners still matters, right? So, culture and what we're doing as an organization to really kind of create an environment for our people to feel like they have some equity in the solutions that they're providing to our carriers and shippers is a huge part of our story, right? And so, spiritually, I guess, the technology that we're really seeking to incubate is rooted in this notion of ensuring that our carriers are set up for success. We're treating them like credible partners and really ensuring that we're keeping them alive and successful over the long run by virtue of the tools that we put in their hands.
Hey, Joel, I'd like to ask this question to many people. It's just kind of shed some light. Is there something going on in our industry, especially in the technology side of our industry, that not enough people are talking about, that you would like to shed some light on for us?
That's a
kind of on the spot. Sorry
yeah, that's a good
little pressing for an early Friday morning.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I had my coffee, so yeah. You know what? I think it really kind of plays into what I just said. I think what is really kind of exciting to see in our industry, and it's not just us doing this, but many others, is finally kind of making the realization that investment in tech for tech's sake is not necessarily going to get you anywhere. You said it best earlier. Everybody's got a mobile app. There's a level of fatigue as it pertains to what lives on your smartphone and how you can kind of interface with things. So we're kind of at that next chapter in the broader evolution of deploying technology that is now bringing a lot of kind of paradigms from typical B2C spaces as you think about kind of good UX design and the experience that you're providing for your customers within your platform. That is really a huge part of what we're doing and what I see some of our peers also kind of further investing in, which to me is an exciting kind of manifestation of use of technology in our space.
We've only got a minute here, unfortunately, Joel, but I'm really glad you touched on the UX side of things, because that's just something I've noticed with Freight Technologies. They look like they were built in like a Windows 95 format, and they're just all very old school looking. So just tell me, the value or the importance of that, and what kind of talent are you bringing in to focus on that?
Yeah, well, I touched on it earlier, but we've made some intentional investments, nationwide to kind of build the team and our talent density up to be able to, really make that a bleeding edge, kind of leading edge part of our technology portfolio. Again, I think it comes back to the experience, right? It's very hard to entice an external customer to consume and use your technology and engage with you digitally if what they see when they get into the platform is something that looks like it's still 20 years old, right? So making it intuitive, thinking about kind of information architecture and how you're serving up that information to your users is a fundamental part of building good technology in our current era, and something that we're taking pretty seriously as we bring better products to life for our shippers and carriers at US Express.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. If people want to connect with you at XPress Technologies, where should they go?
LinkedIn is probably best, as we all are on, so happy to engage with anybody in the community and tell a little bit more about the US Express and XPress Technologies story.
Perfect. Go check him out on LinkedIn. It was great to have you with us in studio this morning. Chat with you again soon.